Hello, everyone. My name is Amari Magaha, and welcome to the launch of California Ranked Choice Voting Coalition.
Hello. My name is Arun Kumar. I'm going to be the co-host with Amari right now. Just to let you know that this meeting is being recorded, so please remain muted. And we also have a sign-in form that I'm going to drop into the chat.
Yeah, we just want to thank everyone for being here and taking the time to meet with us tonight. And while you all are signing in to the sign-up sheet in the chat, I actually have a question for you, Arun, if you're ready.
I'm always ready.
Okay, if you could rank your favorite fruits, your top 3 favorite fruits, what would they be?
All right. I would go with apple because it keeps the doctor away, so they say. I would go with strawberries because strawberries are just great. And I guess I'll go for a citrus one after that. So I'm cheating now. I have a tie. It's between mangoes and oranges. So that's my third place.
I think that's a fair tie. I see some people are in the chat. Well, if you're in the chat, make sure you sign up to the sign-up sheet and also rank your top 3 fruits. I see some people have already done that, but if you haven't ranked your top 3 favorite fruits, make sure you all are doing that after you sign up on our sign-in sheet. That would be wonderful. And again, my name is Amari. If you have not been with us for the past 2 minutes, and this is the launch for California Ranked Choice Voting. So,
okay, can you also share, where you're coming from, how you found out about this event? Just, tell us a little bit about yourself. We'd love to read some of that while we're waiting to get started here.
I think that I chose the fruit question because this is a California-based group, and probably a majority or everyone in this group is from California. And a lot of our produce comes straight from California. So I feel like the question was reasonable. It was applicable. I'm seeing a lot of cherries, a lot of watermelons in the chat, which I completely agree with. All the mangoes. I'm not seeing apples. Apples aren't getting as much love, Arun. How about that?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school like that. I grew up with an apple tree in my backyard, so I have my biases. But look at these people. They have 3 right off the bat. They weren't even cheating like I was.
Right. You technically had 4, so you had a write-in. Yeah. And while you are in the chat, make sure you are signing up on the sign-up sheet. We're going to get started very, very soon. You'll meet the rest of this amazing team. We're very excited. And I'm loving all of these submissions in the chat. You all are incredible. Papaya, it's the first papaya I've seen.
That one, yes.
I saw olive. Is that a fruit that I just wasn't aware of?
It's in a martini, maybe. What about durian? Yeah. Durian? I haven't seen any durians. Maybe that would be the unique ones. Ooh, olives are a fruit. Thank you, David. Ooh, there you go. Rambutan. I haven't even heard of that one.
Post the sign-in link. I think we're getting drowned in fruits, and the sign-in link is lost.
Yeah, let me drop that again as well.
And just make sure you all are signing in so we can contact you if you are interested in next steps.
Can you hear me?
Hello, Henry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want some of us to introduce ourselves?
We'll get to that point.
We have a portion of this event.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a portion of this event that everyone will be able to introduce themselves. So just not yet, but very, very soon.
Yes.
We can't wait to meet you all. This is very, very exciting. Sorry, Arun, I completely interrupted you. What did you say?
No. You said it better than I did. So.
Great. Yeah. We're very excited to meet you all. So we definitely have a point for introductions. So Do not worry.
Can I ask how many people you have like joining the meeting right now? Like just who we see on the screen, or more people than that?
124.
124?
So everyone you
so
see,
many people didn't make it to the screen.
Yes,
Okay.
so who you're seeing on the screen are actually our panel, who is going to introduce all the different facets that RCV has to offer. And you will see each one of us speak throughout the portion of the event. So,
yeah, more people are just filtering in. This is like just allowing people time to filter in. I'm getting pop-ups all over my screen about this too.
Did anybody go to the Oakland event? I think it was in December of 18. Any of you go there? No, I went there, but it was fun. So
yeah, definitely. It's just not what we're doing right now in the meeting, but yeah, you could put that in chat. People might respond in chat.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
You can just share any thoughts you have in chat, and then we will.
Because we have so many folks coming tonight, we want to keep most of the commentary in the chat, because if we do verbal commentary, it's going to. I'm the timekeeper, and it's time to go on to the next thing.
Yes. So thank you all for participating and signing in, and we will now pass the torch to Jess, who will introduce the vision of California RCV.
All right, thank you so much to Amari and Arun for kicking us off. We are so glad that you're all here. My name is Jess. I am based in the Sacramento, California area, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about the coalition and what we hope to accomplish. So, as you may know, ranked choice voting, or RCV, is having a little bit of a moment right now. New York City recently had its first RCV election, and it was one of the largest and most diverse RCV elections in the country. And it had the highest turnout for a municipal primary in over 30 years. That's pretty incredible. An overwhelming majority of New York City voters actually found RCV very easy to use, and they wanted to see it utilized in future elections. Maine and Alaska are using RCV for state and federal offices. Utah has 23 cities that are going to use RCV for the first time this year. Within California, we have RCV being used to elect mayors, city councils, and other offices in San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, and San Leandro. Unfortunately, we don't have ranked choice voting at the statewide level yet, but that is something we are hoping to change. And if you remember, there was recently a recall election in California. We have the results, and Gavin Newsom looks like he's going to be safe, but the sheer number of recall candidates that were on the ballot means it was technically possible for Newsom to have been replaced with someone who got less than 3% of the votes. I personally find that pretty scary and also a little undemocratic. Anyway, with all this momentum, now is the perfect time for action. Support is expanding, excitement is building, and the need has never been more clear. But it's not going to be easy. Ranked choice voting is not going to happen in California unless we put in the work to make it happen. That's why we're building this coalition, and that's why we need all of you. Let's start with why we believe ranked choice voting is the best path forward. The way we elect people in this country is broken. One of the very few things that Americans can still agree on is their distaste for Congress. A recent Gallup poll put congressional job approval ratings at a dismal 28%. And yet we have Congresspeople in safe districts that keep getting reelected time after time. There is a fundamental disconnect here. And it's not just Congress. The news is chock full of examples of elections that are unrepresentative, suffer from low turnout, or are clearly stacked in one party or another's favor. And what's worse is that this has created the feeling that our votes don't matter. It's created a sense of apathy, and we hope to change that. So while ranked choice voting can't fix everything that's wrong with our politics, it's a pretty good place to start. Better elections give us better representatives who can deliver better solutions for our country. In short, there's a lot to love about ranked choice voting. I'd like to share why I'm so passionate about the movement, and then I'll ask Amari and Arun to share as well. I'm fighting for ranked choice voting because I believe it more accurately captures the nuance and complexity of voter preferences. which leads to truer and more genuine representation. What about you, Omari?
Sorry about that. I personally support ranked choice voting because it gives those who have felt excluded in traditional elections a chance to have their voices heard. And representation is something that I'm very passionate about, as you guys will find out later. And ranked choice voting makes that a priority. Arun, what about you?
Well, since I named 4 fruits after being requested to name 3, it shows that I have a variety of thoughts about things. And I think ranked choice voting brings me the opportunity to actually express my thoughts about every election in terms of the different candidates as vessels for those ideas. And so I really like ranked choice voting because it gives me that flexibility to, kind of fully encompass my thoughts.
Absolutely. Very well said. So why are we putting our faith in ranked choice voting to accomplish these goals? Simply put, because it's been proven to work. Data from ranked choice voting elections show benefits like increased representation for women and people of color, stronger voter turnout, and more. So let's talk a little bit about the Ranked Choice Voting Coalition. This group started just before the pandemic as a humble Slack workspace for individuals and organizations working on ranked choice voting issues in California to just connect and collaborate. It's since grown into something much bigger. We are now our own group, a nonpartisan organization focused on getting ranked choice voting adopted across the state of California. We're made up of people and organizations with diverse interests, perspectives, and backgrounds. Zooming back out, when California voters are given the choice to adopt ranked choice voting, they choose it. And our mission is to give that choice to more Californians by supporting local campaigns and building the groundwork for statewide adoption of ranked choice voting, which will be a long-term effort. To accomplish this, we're going to need to raise awareness, build support, and put ranked choice voting on every ballot we can. We need volunteers, fundraising, legal support, and more. It's going to be a team effort, but together, I believe we can do this. And now we're going to hear from FairVote President and CEO Rob Ritchie about the importance of California to the national ranked choice voting movement. Take it away, Rob.
Hey, thank you, Jess. This is so exciting to see so many people on here. Well, we're up to 150, and I think it's going to keep ticking up here. And I know the team that's put this together has worked so hard and has a great evening ahead of you here. And I think a really great coming years, because this has been exciting to be part of. I've been working on this for, I guess, 3 decades now, but it's a lot of things have happened, and it's not just on ranked choice voting, but as the last few years have come together, I think, or around this issue, the big win in Maine and the finally sort of getting through this obstacle of voting equipment that has been this frustrating barrier for places that were ready to adopt it and they just couldn't do so. We're now at a point where it is about us coming together and making the case, because the technical barriers are being removed. The political case, we have more and more evidence of how it works, and Jess ran through some of the great examples. I'll say, by the way, there is good evidence that this is the fastest growing electoral reform in the United States. It also is the one that is winning the most in different kinds of political places. It's, Virginia Republicans adopted it for their nomination elections. Of course, the New York City primaries, Alaska, Maine, just a whole mix of places. And New York and California is the biggest state in the country. I think it is the one that sets standards for so many of us. There are cities that have already been using it. And indeed, San Francisco was the trigger for the modern movement for ranked choice voting, the first major city to implement it. Now we have the biggest cities in a number of states that are using it just in a few weeks. But there's so much more to do, so much more that can build on that. There's a lot of ways to use ranked choice voting, by the way, and there's a lot of ways to kind of make it all those values that people are talking about in chat that can make elections better and really transform elections in really good ways. The presidential primaries, that's going to be a good thing to work on and win in California. Obviously, figuring out how to make it work within or around the top 2 primary system. Proportional representation. There's a growing conversation that we're part of about how to apply ranked choice voting in multi-member districts that not only as the values of the ranked choice ballot on elections, but really begins to change representation in big ways. And that's a big conversation. We just had a really good meeting today with another group that's starting to work on that nationally. So I think what happens in California is going to be huge in California, but it's going to be big for the rest of us. So this is exciting for me. It's exciting for a lot of people around the country, and I'm really wishing you well. So thanks, and I think I'm passing it on to Kaz.
Thank you so much, Rob. I'm Kaz Fernandez. I'm a national organizer with Rank the Vote. I'll be the organizer supporting California going forward. I'm also your neighbor to the east. I'm based out here in Phoenix, Arizona. First off, I'd just like to frame what this meeting is and isn't. Our first challenge is going to be to build a large, diverse, statewide organization necessary to provide the muscle that we need to make ranked choice voting a reality for California. So tonight, we're asking you to avoid getting into the weeds on super specific theory and policy. Like we've already seen a little bit of that happening in the chat. The time for that will come later though. Instead, we're going to focus on how we can organize to bring together diverse groups and individuals interested in ranked choice voting. Now I'm going to pass it over to Tom to talk about strategic planning.
Kaz, thank you so much. All right, actually I want to do a quick verbal reminder. If you're not watching the chat, make sure to go over to chat and click on the link to actually fill out the sign-in form. So everybody who's arrived here, we'd like you to click that link. That should open another browser window. Quickly fill in that form and then come on back if you haven't done that already. All right, but you know, as Jess noted a couple of minutes ago, several cities in California are already using RCV, and we've already seen a lot of the benefits of RCV proven out in those cities. So we know that voters, when they're given the choice here in California, they opt to run their city elections with RCV. And we also know that it makes a difference at the local level. Kinds of things that we all are expecting to see in RCV, they're happening. It's a proven thing, right? We also know that getting RCV adopted for use in statewide elections, including for the California legislature and executive offices, is going to require getting a measure onto the ballot passed, which is going to take a well-organized, well-funded, and powerful campaign. So, you know, we're starting from a small base. I mean, this meeting right now tonight is a huge step forward. And we have around 150 people, more than 150 people in the room right now, which is amazing. But we're still starting from a relatively small base of dedicated reformers. So our near-term focus is on two things: building capacity to win at the state level and simultaneously supporting local campaigns so that we can get RCV passed in cities around the state. So what does it take to build capacity to win? Well, we're extremely fortunate that we can learn from others who have already built huge grassroots movements to get RCV passed in other states. There's literally a playbook that lays this all out, written by our partner organization, Rank the Vote, of whom several folks here are tonight. And Nathan Lockwood, who is the executive director, is going to be talking a little bit more about that playbook shortly. So we're taking that playbook and we're adapting it for California. And it really boils down to three key things: people, money, and endorsements. And the teams that we're asking you to be a part of, and that you're going to see in the breakout rooms in a little bit, these are organized around building up each of these three things: people, money, and endorsements. Now, there are myriad details that we're going to need to figure out and decide on, including legislative strategies, campaign approaches, specifics about how to implement RCV, what flavor of RCV we want to use, right? There's plenty of healthy debate to be had on that. But as Kaz mentioned earlier, that's not what tonight's call is about, right? So we really don't want to get into the nitty-gritty in this call. They are big, important questions, and they're going to take time to do the appropriate research and build consensus around. But I do want to share some of our guiding principles that are going to help us decide how to move forward as a coalition. Number one, we will always listen before we speak. RCV helps solve real problems that people around the state are enduring every day. And as a coalition, we're going to listen and we're going to engage with the very people we expect RCV to help. Indeed, if we're doing our work right, they will become part of the coalition, including as leaders of the coalition. And that includes people who don't think like us or look like us that are in the room tonight. So it's really important to note that as a coalition, we embrace diversity of all sorts, racial, ethnic, gender, and political viewpoint. I mean, how on earth could we claim to be improving representation if we don't represent and embody all the people of California? Second key value we have is that we are nonpartisan as a coalition. You know, we're here to advocate for better, more accurate representation of voters. Individually, the people in this room range from progressives to conservatives, from libertarians to Greens. And just as ranked choice voting itself offers no one ideology or party an advantage over others, this coalition does not, quote unquote, take sides. And we welcome everyone who has a sincere interest in better, fairer, and more accurate representation. Number three, we have a bias toward action. RCV and other electoral reforms can get bogged down in academic debates of all things. And while we will always be fastidious and honest in our research and what we choose to advocate for, we will move quickly and assertively to get rid of the fundamentally broken way that we elect people today. We really embrace the concept of the laboratories of democracy and will not be afraid to try different things based on the dynamics at play in any campaign. And last but not least, we're playing the long game. Changing how we elect our government officials is a powerful action. People paying attention know it. There are entrenched interests that will fight RCV because it removes unfair advantages and forces them to work harder to earn people's votes. So we will work methodically and strategically, and we will keep working to promote and defend RCV before, during, and after it's adopted. Now, with that, I know I covered a lot there. We do want to open it up to questions. Again, because there's so many people in the room, if you want to type your questions into chat, that'll be better. And we have just a minute or two to pick maybe one or two questions. And Jim, I'll check with you on time. I think we're running a little long in general. Do we have time for a couple of questions?
Yeah, we're a little over, but you know, some fluff was built in. So I think we're okay with 3 minutes of this or so.
Great. Yeah, so Arun, are you there? You want to read off a couple of questions?
Yes, let's see. Let me go through this, let's see the interesting ones. Is there a strategy through legislation or an initiative? How will this be structured? And that comes from Shane McLeod.
Great question. Really, really important one to answer. We don't have the answer yet. So I'm really glad this question came up because, you know, tonight is our launch. So we're a very small group. Like, you know, an hour ago, we were a much smaller group than we are already in terms of people joining. And so we have been very explicit about not making a whole series of strategy decisions until we get a lot more people involved, because we want this to be a much more engaged decision-making process than just the handful of folks who came together to start this goal. I think we have time maybe for one more question before
somebody was curious about what cities and municipalities are using RCV in California right now. And that comes from David Benham.
Yeah, great question. So San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, San Leandro are all already using RCV. And we have some really great data that's come out of a lot of the RCV elections with just the kinds of things that we want to be seeing in terms of better representation, removed spoiler effect, right? A lot of the different benefits that that we already know. And there are 3 other cities that are on the cusp of starting to use it. They've passed it, they've adopted it, and we'll start using it in the next election cycle next year. Those are Eureka, Albany, which is a town in the Bay Area, and Palm Desert. And we intend to vastly increase the number of cities.
And that's a good basis to build a strong movement. And talking about building a strong movement will be Nathan, who's got some comments about how that would work, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say, Nathan.
Hey, thank you very much. So thanks for having us here today. Start with just a little brief cheerleading to add to the other cheerleading that's been done. So California is where the magic happens. You know, you guys are leaders in the United States, and I think, you know, you're in a historic moment here. This meeting could be something that really has a huge impact for the rest of the country and the rest of the world. So psyched to be here. And I'm so excited that you have a great leadership team that's pulled this meeting together. You've heard from many of them already: Jess, Tom, Amari, Arun, Lynn, Tom, June, Steve, and others I'm probably forgetting. What a great team you're blessed with to have pulling this together here. So congrats, California. And all you folks who have signed up to join, great idea. Thank you so much for doing that. You're going to achieve so much. So first, I want to talk a little bit about some of the pitfalls or walls that you know, the best RCV champions can hit, and how to get over those walls. So not to start out negatively, but we're going to start with a couple things. So California is a great leader in ranked choice voting. We wouldn't be talking about ranked choice voting in the United States if it wasn't for the achievements that have been referred to in California, all these great cities that have adopted, the lessons we've learned. And I'm sure there's people on this call that have contributed a great deal to those successes. And so big round of applause to all the Californians on this call and not on this call that made all that possible. So it is with, you know, a significant amount of humility that we do some analysis here. So the thing is, there's the bigger you set your sights with a change, it could be an electoral change or electoral reform, or it could be another type of social reform. But in this case, we're talking about electoral reform. At some point, if it's a big change, you have to have a lot of people power behind that change to make it happen. If you are the only person talking to your representatives in the state legislature or going to voters to talk about it, if they're only hearing about it from you, that's not going to be enough to get the job done, because that's not how people work. People are interested in arguments and appeals to reason, but people are really moved by how they see other people thinking. And the more people they see supporting something or making the case for something, the more they'll be excited to get on board. So the reason why we're really excited to be working with the California Coalition and you folks here today is to talk to you about how to build that people power. If you're not, you know, it's great. You can be an amazing advocate, and advocates in California have achieved a great deal. Unless you're like a real insider and a lobbyist or inside, you know, in the party in power and really know how to maneuver and get your whole party on board and do an amazing inside game. At some point, if you can't get that done, you need the people power to make the change happen. So you don't want to be spending too much with a small number of people trying to move the whole political machine and not spending enough resource building your people power. So we're going to talk more about building people power. The other thing I want to talk about is messaging. So ranked choice voting is an incredibly exciting subject. And the more you learn about it, the more passionate you'll get about it. And there's so many amazing ways in which it influences our elections and our politics. And as you learn about it, there'll be so many things you want to tell people. So one of the things that's really important is that even as you learn more about it yourself, as you go to engage new people and bring them in, get them on board with you, you want to keep that messaging really simple to onboard people, because we're not talking about onboarding a couple people every week. We're talking about your California movement onboarding thousands and eventually tens of thousands of new RCV supporters a week by engaging with them in person at events, on the street, at farmers markets, you name it. And so, what you're gonna learn is a real simple elevator pitch, and you're gonna learn to talk to people that are saying, you know, going up to them wherever you see them saying, hi, have you heard about ranked choice voting? And you'd be amazed at how many people will stop and listen to you. And they'll be like, no, what is that? And you're like, It's a simple upgrade to the way we vote. Instead of just picking a single candidate, you get to rank the candidates in the order that you prefer them. This is my first choice, this is my second choice, and so on. Maybe you've voted in an election before where you really wanted to vote for somebody, but you were afraid you might be wasting your vote and throwing it away if you voted for your favorite. With ranked choice voting, you can always vote for your favorite. And if they don't have the support to win, your vote doesn't get thrown away. It still counts towards your backup choice. So simple elevator pitch, start to engage people, get them signed up on your supporter list, which you'll have your clipboard with you at all times. After this meeting, you'll just have it in your car, in your backpack. You'll take it to school when you drop your kid off. Sorry, my camera's, that's a clipboard. Anyways, so keep it simple. Start with the basics, very voter-centric perspective about why ranked choice voting's great for them. And you get them signed up on the supporter list, they can get all your emails and blogs, and then they can, over time, you can get them filled in on all the amazing details. Last thing about messaging is we all on this call probably come from a diverse range of political backgrounds and a diverse range of political perspectives. So there will be people here that are really supporters of one of the two major parties. There will be independents and third-party voters, a lot of those on this call. And some people may be really fed up with politics as usual and really disappointed with the two major parties. Whatever your perspective, when you're talking about ranked choice voting to get people on board, you want to keep it positive. I mean, unless you're just talking to a group that thinks exactly how you think, and then you can talk to them however you like. But there's something good about ranked choice voting for everyone. To pass ranked choice voting in California, you're going to need to appeal to probably a majority of people in the state. So that means you're going to need some Republicans, some Democrats, some independents. So you don't want to make it a partisan thing, and you don't want to bash the third parties, you don't want to bash the independents, you don't want to bash the major parties. And the good news is you'll learn, working with Rank the Vote, working with Fair Vote, working with each other, how to message in simple positive ways that show everyone why there's something good in RCV for them, whether they're a voter, a candidate, an elected official, or even a party official. All right, so keep it simple. And so the next thing I want to talk to you about is something Tom already alluded to. So we said, you don't want to be the only person, the only, 3 people that a voter talks to and hears about RCV. You don't want to be the only group of 10 people or even 100 people that your elected officials are hearing about RCV from. You literally want about 500,000 to 3 million people in California really fired up about ranked choice voting, talking to their neighbors, talking to their legislators about ranked choice voting. So how do you get there? And first question is, you might wonder, what's up with this guy? What makes him think he can come to California and or come to a California Zoom and start talking to us about ranked choice voting? So the reason I'm talking to you tonight is I am you, but I am you 4 years in the future. So I was kind of lucky. I was just a regular old person doing my job in the tech industry. And then in April of 2017, I was seeing these ads for ranked choice voting in Massachusetts, and I got involved. And at the time, the movement in Massachusetts was very small, a handful, like 5. You guys are crazy. You got 150, 200 people on this call. In Massachusetts, they started out with 5 activists that called a meeting like this together and got 50 people to turn out. And their goal was Maine had just become the first US state to pass ranked choice voting. That anniversary will be this November, so yay, Maine. And they said, hey, look, Maine did this. We can do this in Massachusetts. And they very quickly built in Massachusetts over 2 years. They said, we're going to get serious about this. We're going to organize and educate people in Massachusetts about ranked choice voting, who's in. And over 2 years, they went from 5 people to 7,000 volunteers for ranked choice voting. They went from a list of 200 supporters to 50,000 supporters. And I was part of that journey, as was several of the other people from Rank the Vote on this call. If you'd asked me in April of 2017, I was optimistic, idealistic, I wanted to do it. If you asked me if we could do it, I don't know, that seems like a pretty hard thing to do. But we did it. That led to us being able to raise $10 million to launch a ballot question, which was amazing, which resulted in 1.5 million people in Massachusetts voting to change all their elections to ranked choice voting. And that's all happening over a period of just 4 years, like 5 people talking about ranked choice voting to 1.5 million people saying we want ranked choice voting for everything. So how do we do this? So people, we're going to grow capacity. First thing is you need to get more people involved. You can't do it by yourselves. So you're going to learn how to do live outreach, how to canvas, how to have thousands and hundreds of thousands of one-on-one conversations with people to sign them up as supporters and sign them up as volunteers. Talking to strangers is something you got to get really comfortable with and excited about, because that's how you're going to get strong. So your supporter list that you build will be an email list to educate people who like the idea even more. But it's even more than that. Your supporters are your source, the RCV Coalition source of authority when you go to talk to your legislators, when you go to talk to your coalition partners, when you go to talk to voters, you're representing all the people you've signed up. So instead of saying, well, I'm part of the Cal RCV Coalition, before this meeting happened, Tom represented 10 people. Now, as of this meeting, hopefully he represents 200 people. After you guys get to work for a year, all you folks, everyone on the California RCV Coalition, you will be speaking on behalf of the tens or hundreds of thousands of people that you've signed up to support RCV. And that makes people take you much more seriously. The other thing about bringing in supporters in mass, hundreds of thousands, millions, is whenever you're bringing in these supporters, you're getting some voters like, cool, I'll vote for that. But you're also, it's like panning for gold. As you talk to 100 people, there'll be a couple people in there that'll be really special to the movement. They'll become super volunteers that also go out and canvas or do fundraising or do phone banking and texting to activate volunteers. You'll meet some, people who are very successful and have the capacity to be large donors. You'll meet people who have the capacity to be speakers. So getting to know people and signing them up, whatever else you're doing, make sure that, a huge portion of your organization is always signing new people up, because that's how you'll grow. That's how you get strong. Raising money. So real quick, you got to raise money if you're going to win ranked choice voting. And the quicker you come to grips with that, the better. So a lot of us, we're good government activists. Many of us are anti-corruption activists. And the idea of money in politics activates icky center of our brain, initially when we hear those concepts. But when you're raising for money for ranked choice voting, it's a totally different ballgame. That's gotta be your happy place. And when you're asking people for money for ranked choice voting, you're not asking them for money for a bad thing. You're asking them, you're not trying to take something from them. You're giving them an opportunity, especially if they don't have the time to volunteer, to be part of making history, to be part of cleaning up the way our politics works. So you want to get really comfortable and excited about asking people for money. You can ask when you canvass. Your speakers will ask when they give speaking engagements. And when you meet people, you'll meet them where they're at, whatever their capability is. It's an easy way that people can get involved in the movement in a meaningful way. And your organization, that money will be going to you, the volunteer-led California RCV Coalition, so that you can hire people to help you manage some of the tough parts of the organization, be the backbone of your organizations. Your volunteers can focus on what they do best, and to pay for your communications and your digital software and all that fun stuff. So money is important. Endorsements. So very quickly, in Massachusetts, again, 4 years ago, nobody was talking about ranked choice voting. No politician would ever talk about ranked choice voting or endorse ranked choice voting, but you can change that as you grow your people, as you educate organizations through your speakers bureau. You'll be able to earn the endorsements of organizations and public leaders, whether they're elected officials or well-known influential academics or business people, civic and political groups. And those endorsements are validation to help get more people on board with ranked choice voting faster. So with that, I want to turn it over to do Q&A. That's people, money, and endorsements. That's the main part of your mission to get to the statewide enactment. And as you're doing that, as Tom said, you're going to be doing other exciting things like winning municipal campaigns that are also going to get people more excited. So thanks very much, and turn it over to Q&A.
Okay, so I think that's me. I see there's a number of questions about multilingual aspects to our messaging and so forth. Can you talk a little bit about the website and palms cards and everything we can do with multilingual activity with this initiative?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so that'll be something your group will, California is an extremely diverse state, and the United States is an extremely diverse country. And there will clearly be a lot of benefits. both to multilingual materials, as well as making sure that you have a diverse and multilingual volunteer group, because it's great to have people of all different perspectives from all kinds of different backgrounds, because in many cases, those will be the best folks to connect with different communities. So that's something you're going to want to work on as a team. And if you know, there's national organizations that can likely help you in terms of getting good quality messaging materials in general, and maybe even helping you get them in multilingual format as well. Great question.
Quick check-in on time. How are we doing, Jim? You're muted.
Jim, you're muted.
Okay, we're a little bit behind. We do need to get to the breakout groups for sure.
Okay. I think we'll do one more quick question. Nathan, could you talk a little bit about, Cynthia asked a question of, do you have t-shirts that say, ask me about ranked choice voting? Could you talk just a little bit about our breakouts and our teams that are going to support that kind of activity?
Sure, yeah, so you want me to talk about the breakout rooms we're about to go into, Monica?
So she's asking about like t-shirts that say, ask me about ranked choice voting.
Oh, cool. Okay, well, I don't know if we have this on the thing yet.
I was wearing one earlier.
Oh, here we go. Social media and art is one of the breakout groups. So having a group of folks that are good with graphic design and including being able to design t-shirts is a valuable thing. If you have them in a volunteer capacity, that's awesome. If you don't have them in a volunteer capacity, you can try to get them. If you don't get them, but you're successful raising money, you can pay people to design things for you and print t-shirts. It's a wonderful way to brand your movement so you're recognizable. It was a huge part of the Massachusetts movement. We had these beautiful branded t-shirts. From day one, we had a fantastic graphic designer who made us look pro before we deserved it. And it was very valuable for us. And we became famous for our t-shirts. People would see us everywhere, outside the subway, at the political conventions. We became kind of ubiquitous in the state, and good branding and t-shirts and whatnot can be great for that. So yeah, definitely something you want to look into.
I think maybe just a last question. Jonathan asks, are there any Republicans here? If you could just talk real quick about how this is a nonpartisan organization, Big Tent.
Absolutely. So one of the most, regardless of what your political leaning is, I hope that one of the things you enjoy most about volunteering and organizing for ranked choice voting is this ability to connect with other people who kind of believe different things, and unite with them, work with them for ranked choice voting, to appeal to them, to invite them to join you on ranked choice voting. Even if you completely disagree about a million other things, it feels great, especially in this really polarized environment, to be able to connect with people on something, and especially something so powerful and transformative that really offers all of us something. So that's something you want to do. I won't say it's easy. You're going to find that sometimes your group has biases you didn't realize you had. Even if you're doing a great job and you don't even know what your political beliefs are. So it's something you always want to look out for, and always look for opportunities and think about how to better connect with people who think differently than whatever the dominant mode of thinking is at the time. And some great comments there in the chat on this topic.
Great. Well, Nathan, so everyone, my name is Celia. I'm also with Rank the Vote. And Nathan, thank you for that. And thank you especially for talking about your happy place, that this can be the happy place, because we're about to talk about various teams that everyone can be in, which can be your happy place, and doing what you really like, using the skills you already have. It all helps ranked choice voting. So how we're going to do this is you're going to hear about each of the teams, and you'll rename your Zoom window with the number of the team in front of it. You may see some of us folks with purple in the background already have that number in there. And thank you, Tom, for sharing the instructions on how to do this. So here are teams, and you're going to hear from breakout group leaders a little bit more about them, so you can see which one is probably going to be your happy place, and you can be in more than one too. So how to rename yourself is if you look at your own little Zoom window, In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see 3 little dots in blue. If you click those 3 little dots, you'll see a rename option, and then you can put that number in front of your name. If you're on a phone, click on participants, find your name in the participants list, and to the right of that is more. If you click the more, you'll see the rename option there. If you're having trouble at all, you can just put the number of the team you want to be in the chat, and we'll help you get to where you want to go. And so we're going to hear from all the team leaders, and I'm going to give you even another option again when we get to the end. But first, we will go over to Jim and Amari for Team 1.
All right. So what Team 1 is DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusivity or inclusion. And we're going to be working on partnering with diverse groups, building partnerships with relationship-based organizing. And also sort of the other part that we're doing is to help all the other teams do their work through an equity lens and make sure we don't mess up there, if you know what I'm saying. So if that sounds good, come join us in group 1. And then let me pass it off to Monica about live outreach team.
Thank you so much, Jim. So, hey, everybody, my name is Monica, and I will be facilitating the live outreach breakout, which is number 2. And I am going to be talking to you about field initiatives such as canvassing, phone banking, text banking. And if you have organizing experience or campaign experience, I strongly encourage you to join me in Breakout 2. This is the team that's going to be focused on voter outreach. We'll have quick one-on-one conversations with the electorate. This group is focused on list building and grassroots organizing and movement building. So to turn this California RCV Coalition into a large and thriving organization, we need as many folks as possible to join me in Breakout 2. We're going to be focused on capacity growth. And this is the team, Nathan was talking about growing people, money, and endorsements. This is the team that's going to be focused on growing mostly people, a little bit money. And so please join me in Breakout 2. I will now pass this over to the Breakout Room 3 facilitator, Jess Montgomery, who will talk to you about volunteer onboarding and activation.
Again, everyone, Breakout Room 3 is going to be volunteer onboarding and activation. So we are nothing without our volunteers, and we want to make sure that our volunteers have all the resources, information, and the direction that they need to get involved. So come help us shape the volunteer onboarding and activation experience. I'm going to pass it to Arun to talk about social media and art.
Hello. So I'm heading up the social media and art team, and we're going to be mainly working on building out social media platforms and working on creative design, whether that's images and videos, and brainstorming ideas that can kind of break through the conversation that happens online. So as you know, a lot of people have been politicking behind doors because of COVID, and there's been a growth and opportunity for people to connect with different organizations online. And I think the social media and art team can come up with a lot of creative ideas about how to like make more, create more understanding about this topic and make connections with different organizations. So if you would like to join the social media and art team and this fancies you, just add a 4 to the beginning of your name. Thank you. Oh, and let me pass this on to Speakers Bureau and Endorsements, which will be run by June and Nathan.
All right, thank you, Arun. So Speakers Bureau and Endorsements. So basically, your organization is going to need some folks who sort of deeply immerse themselves in understanding ranked choice voting and answering questions related to ranked choice voting, and to doing public speaking, presenting a well-prepared, concise presentation that'll be used across your organization to different civic, political organizations, and groups of people at house parties. You need to be excited about learning how to do public speaking, be eloquent about ranked choice voting, be able to answer lots of questions. That's part of the Speakers Bureau. That's the key part. We need lead and deputy lead to help organize that group. And we need folks to be trainers for RCV speakers, and also people to do logistical work to set up meetings with the different civic and political groups that we want our speakers to talk to. So if you're interested in any of that, come to Breakout number 5 with June and I.
Great. And in breakout room number 6, the executive and messaging team will be meeting, and pretty straightforward. You know, executive team, our job is to steer the organization. It is to really set the agenda for what the coalition is focused on, set the tone, and really critically also mediate and decide on what the messaging is, right? So messaging is absolutely critical. We know that. And as we're working on local campaigns, as we're working on statewide campaigns, getting that messaging right for the moment and for the problems that we are going to solve with RCV is critical. So this team is a big part of that. And we're also the coordinator team among all the rest of the teams, right? So we make sure that teams are moving forward, things are getting done. You know, I mentioned earlier in the meeting, we are an action-oriented organization, and it's critical that we keep the momentum going. And with that, I'll hand it over to Kat to talk about fundraising.
Thank you, Tom. So fundraising, pretty self-explanatory. We are going to raise money. Of course, this organization won't progress as quickly as we'd like it to if we're not raising funds to further our grassroots efforts, pay for our technology tools and things like that. But I do want to emphasize that there is no cold calling. Fundraising's job is primarily following up on pledges and referrals from our field efforts, from some of the pitches from our speakers, and from statewide meetings. So we'd love to have you on the fundraising team if you have a sales background or fundraising experience. And I will pass it over to Zach for tech and data.
All right, tech and data. So a lot of the other groups involve talking to a lot of people. Tech and data management is talking to far fewer people. So if you're an introvert, come hang out with me. We're going to talk about our tech platforms, how we're managing our database of supporters. We're going to end up needing to do a lot of data entry in order to get all of the supporters that all the lovely outreach people and fundraisers go out and get. We need to make sure that they're all in one place. Yeah, we can talk about Nation Builder, which we're using now, but we don't have to use it. Website stuff, comms platforms, all that good stuff. And I will pass it off to Steve for policy and research.
Thank you. My name is Steve Chesson. Policy and research team, our job is, as it says, is to do research on technology, on election results, on the problems that RCV solves, and also answer questions about policy. We basically will take questions from the other teams, do the research that they need, and feed back to them. And we can discuss more about what's going to happen in the breakout. So that's breakout number 9. And I will pass it back to, I'm not sure who I pass it back to.
That's back to me, Steve. Exactly.
Okay, Celia, your name's not in the agenda for that item, but okay, go ahead.
That's true, but I jumped on in. So hopefully I see a lot of numbers coming up. That's great. Hopefully you found a happy place team. And I have another offer. If you would like to be an individual contributor, you are someone who can keep track of tasks and remind people what to do when you'd be interested in being a promotion manager for the organization. This is a role that really works with all the teams to make sure that we have fantastic big meetings like this and everyone knows what we're up to. So if you would like to be that promotion manager, stay in the main room with me. If you're not sure what team is right for you or you just have some general questions, also stay in the main room with me. So with that, I'm gonna open up the breakout rooms and start putting those teams together. So have a little patience. There's a lot of us in here, but we'll get it going. And in the meantime, let's see if there are any pressing questions still in the chat. Maybe Tom, you could look at those and see if there's anything particular for California, and I'll give you a warning before I send everyone off.
Celia,
yeah.
Looks like co-hosts can also assign people. So
go for it then.
Okay, I'm just starting. So should I start moving people into rooms?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll start from the bottom.
Absolutely, because otherwise
we do have a great question, which is if someone wants to join multiple teams, you can move between breakout rooms or just let the facilitator in whichever room you go to, just let them know that you're interested in some other teams. And we're also going to be sending follow-up emails tomorrow. And so there'll be plenty of ways that you can, we'll give you the team list. And if you want to switch teams, if you want to check out others, if you want to be on more than one team, go for
it. In the breakout room. But if we're back to the main room and are ready to have the report backs, I will start calling people for report backs. Exciting. So if we have first up to come back and share some of the goals and perhaps new leaders and what meetings you may have set, we'd like to hear from diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'll bet that's going to be Queen.
Huh?
Hi. Or would Jim and Amari like to take that?
Well, from the first meeting. No. Well, for the first meeting, we kind of just talked about what our ground goals were and why we got involved in what we're doing, and on top of that, how we can facilitate the tools to what we need to work with. On top of that, just seeing kind of the basic points. So it was a very informative chat room, to the fact that we can make all this information accessible to. And it was good for 101. Anyone that needs 101. This was basically like the basic that I could understand. And if I can understand it, anyone can. But it was a basic 101 on how to get the information. What do we want? What's our goal? And what do we need to do?
Excellent. So you guys made some solid progress.
Marie led the whole thing. She's great. Yes, we kind of got that in the agenda, which was great because we have a next target point on when we're going to discuss everything. But, this is all like a team effort, and Marie was great in leading all that.
Excellent.
And guys.
Thank you so much. So the next team we'd like to hear from would be, Monica with live outreach and statewide recruiting. How'd it go?
Great. Thank you so much, Lynn. So my job was to report back our leadership and when we're going to start meeting in this live outreach team. And usually when we do these launches, I'm like so hopeful that we'll get a lead and a deputy lead. And I am so completely humbled and honored and blown away by the amazing group that I had. We have 6 leaders for live outreach. That's like, I don't even know what's going on right now, but there are 6 leaders for live outreach. So that's insane. And they are going to be meetings on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. I'm just speechless. I will pass it back to you, Lynn.
Wow, that is amazing. And then next is going to be the team actually I was participating in, but just as an observer. And Jess is leading the volunteer onboarding and activation. We'd love to hear the report, Jess.
All right, good to see you again, Lynn. We talked about the importance of onboarding to the volunteer experience. We also discussed defining what we want our priorities to be as the onboarding and volunteer activation team, and what that meant, what our specific roles and responsibilities would be, and our swim lane, so to speak. And we also discussed how we would interact, coordinate, and cooperate with the other working groups, and also with campaigns on the ground actually working on RCV in different jurisdictions. Lots of discussion about scope of responsibility, what it should be, what was reasonable. We do not have a lead or deputy lead yet, but I am hoping we will have that soon. We're hoping to meet on weekday evenings, either Monday or Thursday, to be discussed further. Thanks.
Excellent. Yes, those were the exact notes I had made too. It's nice when everything lines up, isn't it? So the next team we're looking to hear from will be social media and art. That would be Arun.
Hello. So I had a great meeting with some folks, and I heard some very interesting, diverse backgrounds in terms of their experience working on digital media and arts. they had some great ideas about how we could bring a variety of different voices and bring some video content into the sphere, so we can have some of our video content reaching people in various groups on Facebook and Twitter. So I had a great discussion with them in terms of how we can engage these various digital communities that are discussing politics or discussing ideas in terms of good governance. And I think that some of the content ideas and some of the people in that group are going to be really great in terms of spearheading content that will make that will hopefully pierce through the discussion and open some hearts and minds.
Awesome. Sounds wonderful. So our next team that we'd love to hear from will be Endorsements and Speakers Bureau, would be June and or Nathan. How'd it go?
All right, well, it went great. So June, do you want to give a quick synopsis?
Well, I'm happy to report that we have 2 leaders and a deputy. We did not get as far as picking a time, so I hope that the leaders will do that in the after session. But we're very glad that we're starting off with leaders in position, and a lot of people who are interested in being speakers, who have experience with being speakers, and are interested in getting more broadly involved.
Yeah, so welcome Jack and David, who elected to be leaders. And oh my gosh, to just echo June's point, what a great group with great experience in passion for ranked choice voting, and really, you know, applicable experiences to start off the speakers group. You're off to a great start.
Sounds wonderful. Oh, so excited to hear all these great reports. Next up, we're looking to hear from Executive and Messaging with Tom.
Yeah, so I just messaged Nancy because she's already smack talking about Team 2, but other teams are bringing the heat, and that includes executive and messaging. I was thoroughly impressed with everybody who came in the room. We've got former electeds, we've got campaign managers who have worked on ballot measures and legislative work here in California. We have someone who founded another ranked choice voting group in another state and is on board there, is moving to California. And I can't give everybody their due, you know, in this really short report out. But, you know, what we didn't do, of course, is like actually find the time that we're going to meet, but we are going to do that. And we did get everybody listed, but the quick summary is like just amazing to see people showing up and, you know, both showing up in the Zoom and showing up saying, I'm here, I have expertise, I'm ready to go. So thank you.
Wow, applause all around. You betcha. All righty, next up, we're looking to hear from Fundraising with Kaz. How'd you do over there?
Thank you, Lynn. We did pretty great. I would say we did fantastic. We have 5 new members of the fundraising team. We have 2 co-leads and I think a future deputy co-lead. And we have folks that have experience with grant writing, grassroots fundraising, folks that are state party chairs, and folks with tons of experience. So I think that's going to be great for the fundraising efforts. They've already established, I think they were establishing their team meetings as Tuesday at 7 p.m. They switched it to Wednesday at 7 p.m., but sound like they're ready to rock.
Wow, excellent progress. It's amazing. How about technology and data management with Zach and Travis?
It was just me, and because there was no Travis, It was all over the place. It was crazy, but it was great. We basically didn't follow any of the agenda, but we got through most of it at the end. We have a win to meet. I am the temporary lead, and Desmond's going to be my deputy for the time being. He volunteered that as we got kicked out. We've got people who are experienced with Nation Builder and building websites, and someone who's basically reverse engineered all the Dominion voting system stuff. So that's awesome. So we can we've got 20 years of ranked choice voting data, and I'm probably butchering the stuff, but we can do some really cool stuff, it sounds like. So we'll get all of the data entry done, and then we'll do some cool stuff too. Well, they will. I'll just be a cheerleader.
Awesome. That is so cool. Excellent.
And for all the tech people, sorry, one more thing. I put a link in the chat to join the Slack workspace if you want to get in there, because we kind of got cut off. Come say hi.
That's always a good thing to do. Absolutely. And we also have the policy and research team with Steve. How'd it go over there?
Well, the good news is that we had about 18 people that signed up to be on this team at various levels of involvement. The bad news is that no one was willing to either be a lead or a deputy lead. I think they'll want me to do that. So we'll have to figure that out. We also didn't set a time for the next meeting. I think I'm gonna have to contact everybody by email to set up a meeting where we can have more discussion. And one of the questions that came up was, do we have to wait for people to ask us questions to research? Can we do research on our own? I said, of course, we can come up with ideas that we need researching on our own. We don't have to wait to be asked. And I guess I need to turn it back to you, Lynn.
Well, Jess just put in there to Steve, give the people what they want. I guess that means Steve later. Sounds like it to me.
The pressure campaign.
Maybe somebody will step up shortly. And once they get their feet a little bit more sea legs, perhaps someone will step into the role for you.
I can be a caretaker lead, but we'll see how that works.
A mentor, someone who puts someone under the wing and brings them along, shows them the ropes. And it looks like I get to either hand this back over to Celia for promotion manager, or Tom.
You hand it to me. I'm going to cover real quickly just what's happening in the sort of our next meetings and key follow-up. So we will be following up over email after this, of course, right? So we're going to have links to a lot of the systems we're using, like Slack, our website, so on and so forth, for people to get engaged in that. We will be holding monthly statewide cross-team strategy calls. And the first one of those is scheduled already. It's about 6 weeks from now. We're going to give people a little bit of time to get into their team group before we have our next full meeting. But that'll be on November 10th at 7 p.m. I think it's a Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It'll be online, of course. And we do have a link to register for that meeting. You'll, of course, get an email to sign up for that too. But if you want to register right now, can someone drop that into the chat? Or
I just did it, Tom.
Thank you. Okay, great. Yeah, so you can click on that link and register on our website, and you'll get emails as well. So hopefully you've already talked about your team meetings. If you haven't, the leads will be figuring that out with you. And other key thing is, if you signed up as a team lead or a deputy lead, at the very end of the call, please stay on. Everyone else can drop, but please stay on. We want to have just a couple of minutes to quickly group together as all of the leads. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Nathan.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Tom. So we're about to wrap up. We're not done yet. Got a really important thing left here. So who, raise your hand if you are excited about what you've seen tonight. Who here thought that you guys could turn out almost 200 people to start building people power for ranked choice voting in California? All right. Who thinks that we got the people that we need in this room to be the beginning of a successful effort to win ranked choice voting statewide in California? All right, super. And who's excited about volunteering for the next couple years to make that happen? I'm just seeing hands all over my screen, hearts, hands. This is great. Okay, so who's ready to chip in a little bit of money so that as you're volunteering, your organization has the money to support you in doing what you need to do? We talked, so raise your hand if you're ready to chip in a little something. We've got 80 people on the call, and we've got a match on the table already that the leadership of Cal RCV has put together from some generous anonymous donors. They have chipped in $6,200. And I think we can match that in the room with our collective strength, just each of us chipping in what they can. So you might wonder, hey, wait a second, we're the volunteers. We've already signed up to do our blood, sweat, and tears. Why are you asking us for money? Well, a couple reasons. One is you believe in this cause. Two is we're not going to ask you for a ton of money. And three is this money will make your job easier. This money will allow you and the leaders of your organization to pay for the equipment that you need, to pay for the printing you're going to need to go out and sign people up, and to pay for the software. And you'll be really relieved at this point when they raise enough money so that they can hire some support staff to be there full time to help you coordinate your massive statewide effort. For California to be successful, you guys are going to have to do ridiculous things, and you're fully capable of doing that. But you're going to need the money to help you, to help give your organization the strength to support you so that you can do what you do best, which is going to be talk to fellow Californians about ranked choice voting in huge numbers and bring them into your movement. So let's do this. Let's play a little game. So we've got almost 80 people in the room. We've got about $6,000 on the table. I think that we can get roughly $80 a person. So $80 a person. Here's the game. $80 a person could be a one-time donation. This is an average. If you're super successful, you IPO'd your software company yesterday and you want to give $20,000, that's great. If you're got a huge heart but a skinny wallet and you can only afford a few bucks a month, that's okay too. But if you'll be a recurring donor, so sign up as a recurring monthly donor, if you give up half a Chipotle burrito a month, so we're talking $4 a month, that's almost $50 a year. And that's really all we're asking for here. And that'll make your life go so much better. So what we're going to do is Celia's going to put a link into the chat window. And that link is going to go to a form where you can put your pledge. And your pledge, again, will be that one-time donation or a recurring donation. And again, it can be as little as, it can be as much as $20,000 or as little as $2 a month. But if you can scrape, even if you're struggling, if you can spare that cup of coffee or that half a burrito a month, it'll help ranked choice voting in California go a long way. So with that, Celia, can you get that link into the chat box there?
Yep, I just put that link into the chat. And I mean, this room is amazing. We're already getting real donations coming in, not even just the pledges. So we are able to total up the pledges as they come in. So even if you already donated, if you could put that pledge in there too, we'll get a better picture of what we're able to do in this room with that dollar for dollar match from an amazing, amazing donor circle. There's a lot of faith in this group. And after seeing what happened today, I totally understand why this group is going to make things happen.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So again, if you do $50 a month, that's a $600 pledge. That's 50 times 12 is 600. If you do $5 a month, that's $60. So just plop that in the form there, and Celia will read those off as they come in. And again, you know, we don't like talking about money. We're good government activists, but this money is going nowhere but the Cal RCV Coalition to power your work forward. So you've done the hard part. You've got 200 people out. You've got amazing volunteers signing up to do real leadership tasks. Give yourself the financial support you need to be successful. All right, John Palmer, he's got his thing in the link. Yeah, and if you wanna tell the group, you know, tell it to the mountains here, you can put it right in the chat too. A week's worth of burrito from Alex. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. That's amazing.
Good question. Nathan, is this a 501c3? Like, can we donate from our DAF?
That is a great question, Jana. So the organization is in the process of forming a C3, and we'll have one up and running soon. So tonight, if you'd like to do a pledge for the C3, put that in and send a note to Celia, letting them know that your pledge is for the C3, because we didn't have a distinction for that, and that's important. But yes, they'll have that set up soon, so we can fulfill that in the C3, Jana. We can certainly make that happen. Thanks for asking.
Thanks.
I mean, the just to clarify, the main group is a C4.
That's right.
But we are doing a C3 companion organization.
Super.
Yes.
More paperwork.
Quick, if I may ask, can we have a distinction and a clarification of what the C3 and the C4 orgs are?
Sure. So C3, sorry, do you want to take that one, Jim?
Sure. A C4 is a campaigning group. I'm going to be really simplify it. A C4 is basically a campaigning group. So because of that, it's not tax deductible. A C3 is more of an educational group and is restricted to only spending about 20% of its money on campaigning and stuff like that. And the rest all has to be educational. For that one, most donations are tax deductible.
Okay, thanks, Jim. So Celia, so we've got that $6,200 match, and we definitely don't want to leave that on the table. How are we looking, Celia, so far?
We're actually working on getting the back end of these pledges updated. So we're holding on tight. Zach is working on that, and I will get to you as soon as possible with that number.
Okay, super. Do you want to read us off a few of the latest entries there? Stephen, thank you so much.
Yep, we got a monthly one from Zach, so I appreciate that. Any amount monthly is so helpful. The organization can plan and know, that we can keep up our Zoom and ongoing expenses.
That's great. We got a $2 burrito donation from a grad student here. So and he referred to that as the Taco Bell burrito. We're gonna use that at future launches. So thank you for making that happen and doing something that really is great.
Yep.
By the way, doing those Taco Bell, we love, if you want to drop $5,000 on us, that's great. If you're in the Taco Bell burrito category, that's great too. When you guys go to pitch to other big donors, they're going to ask you, well, how many people donated? And you're going to be really glad you got a couple hundred Taco Bell burrito donors on your list, giving you that Taco Bell burrito every month, because they're going to say, oh, wow, that's a lot of people. You got those 200 extra people. So every donation's good, be it small or be it large. And it looks like they keep rolling in here, which is great.
I'm going to shout out Jim for adding a $20 a month pledge. Thank you so much, Jim.
No problem. Like I said, it's less than $1 a day. I can afford that.
Can somebody check Preston Jordan on the back end of the Google form? Kaz, do you have access to that?
All right, I have the numbers now. We had a little bit of technical difficulties there. Celia, you want me to tell you how many pledges we have and the amount pledged?
Yeah, please. With the
30 pledges, $4,374 right now.
Ooh. So over 4,000, and then with the match, double that. Amazing.
Okay, so that was 4,000.
Lori Skipper has her hand up.
Who won the
Celia, Lori Skipper has her hand up. Can we take a question?
I thought I was raising my hand to say I wanted to make a donation.
Oh, super, Lori. Yeah. What do you want to do, Lori?
I already did.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great. So we're up. Celia, you said we're up to 4K right now?
Yeah, Zach is able to see those as they roll in.
5,070.
Whoa.
Almost
okay.
up to that matching amount.
Okay, this is amazing. So we're almost there. So this is where, if you got a little capacity, you're not, you got more than you need to get your monthly burritos and pay your rent or pay your mortgage. You can lead us to victory here. You guys are already doing amazing. Just 1K more. If you can do this with 1K donation. So a single, two $50 a month donations will put you guys over the finish line, or a bunch of things much smaller than that, and you are so close. I mean,
Can you confirm for Preston? He's asked a couple times. Do you see the back end of the Google form, or Celia or Zach?
I'm looking now. It wasn't updating before.
We have a new donor category, by the way. It's the street taco. So thank you to Shane for creating a new donor category. That's awesome.
What is Preston's email address? Or what does it start with?
Preston.
June, thank you so much. All right, Celia, can you put that link back in the chat window for anyone who's making their mind up here for the final push? Then we're going to let folks go. I'll tell you what. I didn't chip in yet, and I don't usually chip in at state launches. But if you guys don't win, the U.S. isn't going to win. So I'm getting involved in this action myself here. And somebody match. I'm doing $10 a month because I got a few other. I'm also contributing to the national in 1 or 2 other states. And I invite someone else to come in with some street tacos or some Brinks trucks or whatever they got. Bring it now. We're going to close this thing down in 2 minutes.
And Zach, what's it looking like now?
Bitcoin.
Oh, sorry, one moment. I gotta.
Look, all we're asking for is 1/100th of a Bitcoin. That's all we're asking for.
All right, thank you, Queen. No, that's awesome. We're really happy you came to volunteer. If seriously about Bitcoin, if someone wants to give cryptocurrency, Rank the Vote can help fulfill that. And please let Celia know if you really want to do Bitcoin, and we'll work with you on that. All right. So where are we at, Celia? Where are we wrapping up here?
I'm going to toss it over to Zach because you're seeing the latest.
Yeah, I am. Hold, please. We're looking at 41 pledges, 6,212.
Oh, wow. Oh. Let's give yourself a round of applause. You guys hit the number. That's amazing.
Wait, we have $12 to spare. Let's buy a pizza.
I can't volunteer money, but I can volunteer 5 kids and 1 granddaughter.
There you go, right on.
All right, well, California, I got more hope than ever that we're winning ranked choice voting in the next few years because you guys are coming out in force. I'm going to shut up now and thank you for letting Rank the Vote come in and be part of your party tonight. And I'll turn it back over to Tom or whoever's going to close this out here.
Yes.
All right, that's going to be me. Thank you so much for all the pledges tonight. It's really encouraging. And thank you for joining us. I do want to say for the leads and deputy leads, please stay on for a very brief huddle after this meeting. We'll try and keep it quick because I know it's already getting late. But I just feel so optimistic about the future and what we can accomplish. So thank you again for coming. Please stay in touch, stay engaged. Join our Slack workspace. That's the easiest way to get in touch with us. And have a wonderful evening. Good night.